Uncertainty is not good for business. Uncertainty is not good for the markets. We need to provide more certainty and stability there, and hopefully that'll happen sooner rather than later. What's happened in the last 48 hours with the targeted attack on Iran is one that we would prefer not to have done, but it also demonstrates our global military capabilities that, quite frankly, with regard to what happened in the last 48 hours, no other country in the world could have done that.
Is there anything in particular that you would sort of share with these founders, CEOs, around that fear around debt? And is this the right time to cut back on expenses?
But as far as entrepreneurs, the two things that I would say that people need to keep their eye on right now, what's the impact?
Welcome to the Disruptionist, where the status quo has no seat at the table. I'm Jess Singh, and this is your invitation to join the movement of game-changing, boundary-pushing strategies that will take your marketing, branding, and customer journey to the next level. Let's get disruptive. Wonderful, Dave. Well, listen, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here with me today. My name is Jess Singh. You and I had the pleasure of meeting backstage in LA, and I had the chance to hear a little bit about your amazing new book, or your book basically called America in 2040. I feel quite fortunate because as we've gone to record now, this has become quite topical. So, Dave, I would love to hear, based on the current sort of economic climate, the global perspective of what's happening with the US at the moment. Is this becoming a bit more of a reality? Is this all going to happen prior to 2040? Some of the predictions that you had in your book, or what are you sort of thinking is going to happen in terms of the current political climate?
Well, first, one of the things outlined in the book, as you know, Jess, is it takes four things to be a superpower: global economic power, global diplomatic influence, global military capability, and global cultural influence. And clearly, the United States has that. The Soviet Union
Mm,
was never a global economic power. It never had global cultural influence. So technically, it was never a superpower, but it was from the standpoint of military and diplomatic dimensions, but not overall. China now is the rising power. The
yes.
United States is the leading power in the world, but not the only. The United States can continue to be a superpower with all four of those dimensions if it puts its finances in order, because
Uh,
it's lost control of its finances. The leading indicator on the way up is economic power. The leading indicator on the way down is economic power. If you can't put your
mm,
finances in order, you won't maintain economic power. We've lost control of our finances. We need to regain it. At the same time,
absolutely.
what's happened in the last 48 hours with the targeted attack on Iran to try
Yes.
to neutralize their nuclear ambitions is one that we would prefer not to have done, but it also demonstrates our global military capabilities that, quite frankly, with regard to what happened in the last 48 hours, no other country in the world could have done that. Let's
Yes.
just hope it ends at that. Let's hope that everybody gets
Oh,
back to the bargaining table and that we can provide more peace and stability, not only to that region, but frankly to the whole world.
absolutely. And this is the thing. There's a saying that we've been sort of hearing: if America, catches a cold, or if America sneezes, the rest of the world catches a cold, and it does feel that way. So here, on the Disruptionists, we are a community of entrepreneurs. We are trying to disrupt what it means to be in business. So when we're thinking about this, we are concerned as CEOs, as founders, about maybe what we should be doing in preparation as a result of some of this instability that we're seeing. And I think one of the key premises within the book, you talked about debt being a blind spot. So it isn't the debt itself, but it's actually being blind to it. And some of those themes, I think, are what you've alluded to in when we first just answered that first question. Is there anything in particular that message that you would sort of share with these founders, CEOs, or senior executives within small to medium-sized enterprises around that fear around debt? And is this the right time to cut back on expenses? Maybe you could give us a bit of advice as to what you think.
Well, first, Australia is in much better shape than the United States with regard to debt to GDP. I did a study with Stanford master students a number of years ago.
Mhm.
I think it was in 2012. At that time, the United States ranked number 28 in fiscal responsibility and sustainability. And Australia was either number one or number two because everything in the world is on a relative basis. I don't know what
Yes.
you would be now because I haven't updated the numbers, but at that point in time, you were in much better shape than we were. Uh,
Mhm.
at the same point in time, as you said, when the U.S. sneezes, everybody else gets a cold. When the U.S. gets the flu, the whole world gets something much worse than the flu. So, uh,
That's right.
I think right now, obviously we can put our finances in order. So, and that's going
That's
to take
right.
a combination of promoting more growth, reducing spending on a projected basis, and increasing revenues on a prospective basis. More on the spending reduction than the revenue increase, but we're going to have to do both. We can't grow
Okay.
our way out of this problem. But as far as entrepreneurs, the two things that I would say that people need to keep their eye on right now. What's the impact of AI going to be? It's going to be positive and negative, and think about how that's going to impact your business and how you can capitalize on the positive and manage the negative. And then secondly, we got to get this tariff situation resolved.
Mm.
There's too much uncertainty with regard to what the situation is going to be with regard to tariffs. Uncertainty is not good for business. Uncertainty is not good for the markets. We need to provide more certainty and stability there, and hopefully that'll happen sooner rather than later.
Hi, guys. I'm just jumping in quickly to stop you there. I just wanted to remind you if you're a small business owner or you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to gain some clarity or strategies around your marketing, branding, the way in which you can work with customers, you can contact me by checking out the information below. I'm here to support you to start making some really positive disruptions to the industry that you work in and for you and your business. Right back to the episode.
So when we think about the actual title of your book, you zoom us out to a forward future in 2040, and we know that most entrepreneurs we are sitting here and we literally focus on what's happening in the next 90 days. Why should business owners, founders, entrepreneurs actually look beyond that 90-day lens, and where should that ideal time frame be, particularly in these more tumultuous times?
Well, I don't know how big hockey is in your country. Okay,
Yes.
is it big in Australia?
Ice hockey. Look, we actually probably play more of the actual hockey on the
I
field
got you.
than
Okay,
ice
well,
hockey, but
you know
we,
what they
yeah.
say. Well, for ice hockey, but field hockey, same similar concept. You go to where the puck's going to be, not where the puck is. So
Ah, yes.
it's always good. I believe that it's very important to do strategic planning. You can't really look further than about 3 years in advance with any degree of high reliability. But it's important to be able to look at mega trends. What are the mega trends that are happening? Think about
Yes.
what those mega trends, whether they be demographic, whether they be economic, whether they be geopolitical. What are the medical, what are those trends? How might they affect your business? And but it's tough to be able to do things with certainty beyond about 3 years.
Absolutely. And I think one of the biggest things that a lot of folks struggle with, so I specialize, Dave, in marketing and branding strategy, and 95% of the businesses that we end up dealing with just constantly in the tactical sort of mode, constant tactics, testing this, trying that, jumping on the newest and latest thing. So one of the things that I was wondering, with regards to, if we go back to some of the themes in the book, you talk a little bit more about having, I suppose, a playbook where there's specific reforms that you think need to be put in play. Now, given where we're at today, and we are talking about a pathway to success as your subtitle, which reforms that you sort of alluded to do you think still have a shot given the current climate that
Well,
might give us some lessons as well?
from a big picture standpoint, as it relates to the United States government finances, we need a
Hmm.
strategic plan. We don't have a strategic plan. We don't even have one that looks out 3 years, much less longer than that. China's got one, and they're
Yeah.
executing. Secondly,
Wow.
we need a budget. Okay, we don't have a real budget. Okay, and most of our spending we've written a blank check for. It's on autopilot. we need key national outcome-based indicators. What are we trying to accomplish? How do we measure success so that we can match resources to results? Unfortunately, in our government, when they want to do something, they just throw money at it. And when something's
Wow.
not working, they throw more money at it. Okay, so you're
Yeah.
throwing you good money after bad. So there's
Yes.
just some very basic, I would call it management 101 principles that we've yet to fully adopt here in the United States. And I realize that we were created in 1789. You don't necessarily want to rush into anything, but I would respectfully suggest that 249 years is enough. We should have these things by now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Dave, what you've just said there isn't too dissimilar to what I've seen within the corporate space, within the
Sure.
space. So it's interesting to think that even one of the world's leading economic powers will approach business in a really sort of similar way, because essentially this is the government, it is in the business of managing America, right? So yeah, it's really interesting to for you to pull those or weave those threads together. Now I know that we've got a little bit of time left, so I'm just wondering, in terms of what you would say to anyone that's thinking about picking up your book, America in 2040, why they should pick it up, where they can grab a copy, and why you think it's relevant to any business owner out there.
Well, first, it's on Amazon. You should get it on Amazon. There is a website, american2040.com. You can go there too. There's more
Yep,
information there, about
got
me.
my
Yeah,
lovely copy.
about me and number of the op-eds and other things that I've done since the book was published. Um, Look, as you said before, um, America is the leading economic power. It is the leading indicator for what the future might be.
Yes.
We have a significant impact around the world. Um, Australia is a very trusted ally and partner of ours. We both share some common concerns, especially with regard to what's going on in Asia as it relates to the rise of China. And so while the book is focused primarily on the United
Mm.
States, it does include a range of economic, national security, issues that go beyond the borders of the United States. And I'm frankly very happy with the fact that I'm the one that predicted years ago that there would be an alliance between China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea against
Uh,
US and Western interests economically, diplomatically, militarily, and culturally. That has happened. I also predicted that Russia would go into Ukraine right after the China Olympics, and they did. And so, in many ways, it's been pretty prophetic. Um, but it focuses primarily on economics as
yeah.
well as national security. And obviously, everybody should have an interest in that.
Amazing. Well, Dave, it's been an absolute pleasure catching up with you once again. I do recommend everyone, learn a little bit more about what you've talked about here today. So thank you so much for joining us. And yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks, Jess. My pleasure. All the best.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining me on The Disruptionists. If this episode sparked new ideas or challenged your thinking, I'd love your support with a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And don't forget to subscribe to your favorite platform to catch every disruptive insight. For more behind the scenes content and to connect with like-minded disruptors, follow me at It's Jess Singh across all social platforms. And remember, stay disruptive.